So we've been giving Tim Dillon a hard time. And, I've been giving Tim Dillon a hard time for the simple reason that I think he's smart. And I think he's smarter than what he did during the election, where, he had on J.D. Vance and gave him a hot stone massage, and his buddy Rogan had on Trump and then fucking endorsed him and gave one of the most pathetic interviews I've ever seen. And, he got kind of carried away in that world of like, oh, the Republicans are actually anti-establishment. And I know that he knows better. He just does. He's a smart guy. He's a funny guy. And that was super infuriating, not just to me, but there's a lot of people who agree completely with me that this guy had talent and he just sort of flushed it all down the toilet by becoming a little Republican simp. And so, but he's been slowly but surely inching back. You could say, the negative reading of it is he's pulling a Rogan, right? Rogan got caught being too aggressively on the Trump train, and now Rogan is trying to tiptoe back out of the room and say, no, I was never even really that much pro-Trump, bro. I'm like an enlightened centrist or whatever, bro. Like both sides. That's what Rogan is doing. And Tim Dillon definitely still has that both sides bullshit in him, which is bullshit, and everybody should know that. But he's either pulling a Rogan and doing the same sort of move, or perhaps he's willing to go a little further than Rogan and point out that we actually are living through hell now. Now, he stopped short of doing what I do and what you do, which is to say, because of Donald Trump, because of J.D. Vance, because of these Republican bitches, they are screwing the country 1,000 ways to Sunday. He doesn't say that part, but he does say, yeah, this is the hell world that we were warned about, right? So this is a clip that's going kind of viral. Listen to what he says here, then I'll have a lot to say about it. Here we go.
They've already got the cops on the street that are not cops, that are the military. They've already got the National Guard on the street. They already have all your information in D.C., and now they just get to decide what is and isn't over the line. That should scare everybody. You're fucking nuts, dude. If this doesn't scare you, you're nuts. All of these things that Alex Jones, and I've had Alex on, I like Alex, but all these things that Alex Jones was like worried about when I listened to him in the late 90s, early 2000s are coming to fruition. And I don't know where he is on all of that stuff, but like, I know he's a big fan of Trump, but like this is everything Alex Jones always talked about. Military in the street, the FEMA camp, the tech company that monitors everything, the surveillance. This is all of that. I mean, not to sound like a fucking nut. This is everything a crackhead. And I don't even mean a crackhead like crack, but a guy smoking weed in a room with a fucking black light and a fucking, insane clown posse tattoo on his arm. I'm thinking of a very specific guy I was friends with. But this is everything that guy would have talked about. He'd be like, bro, there's going to be military in the street. They're going to put you in jail for your fucking thoughts, man. If you just say them, bro, you're going to be in fucking jail. There's going to be a fucking company that monitors everything you do, bro. Like, this is literally the wet dream of every conspiracy theorist that has ever lived, and it's happening now.
Yeah. My only issue with what he's saying is, he goes all the way back to, bro, Alex Jones was warning about this in like the late 90s and the early 2000s. And it's like, yeah, Tim, you know who else was warning about it? Every liberal and leftist during this last election, and you fucking hated them. And you shat on them, and you acted like they were the problem because they are too woke. He goes all the way back to the late 90s and early 2000s to say, man, Alex Jones predicted a lot of this. Well, now that it's here, he doesn't fucking see it. He doesn't fucking talk about it. He rides Trump's nuts on a daily basis. He runs cover for the person who's delivering all of that stuff to us. Meanwhile, you can go back. I've been saying this shit my entire time doing the show. I was saying it during the last election, that this guy is one of the most fucking authoritarian guys that you can think of, that we've ever seen. That this guy is the deep state. He is, the most corrupt president we've ever had. But this was all stuff that Alex Jones hid and didn't talk about. You think he didn't see the articles? You think he didn't know? He knew. He chose not to talk about it because he decided he was going to snuggle up to power. He decided he was going to hitch a ride on the Trump train. And, also you, Tim Dillon, you're a smart guy. You didn't talk about this stuff either. You didn't talk about how Trump took tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of dollars from the Saudi Arabian government. That's corruption. That's rank. Who the fuck do you think he's going to represent when he's in office? You and me, or some Saudi fucking rapist pedophile prince? What do you think? Who's he going to represent? Well, who's the one that gave him the hundreds of millions of dollars? What about Miriam Adelson, who gave Trump $100 million during the campaign and said the quid pro quo is you need to let Israel annex the West Bank. And then, oh, would you look at that? We just got word this week, Israel's annexing the West Bank. And it's almost like I warned you about that. Every liberal podcaster warned you about that. Every leftist podcaster warned you about that. And what was the right wing do? Oh, the woke people are the problem, and they got purple hair, bro, and they joke police, bro, and can you believe that, bro? And oh my God, they're so censorious. And they created a place called Chaz in Seattle or Portland or some shit. They want to defund the police, bro. They want to defund them. While you guys were talking about some dumb bullshit, you swatted aside all of the real points that all of us were making. You swatted aside the fact that Trump made $160 million from foreign countries when he was president in his first term. You didn't care about that. You didn't talk about that. Alex Jones didn't talk about that. You didn't talk about the fact he made $3.4 million in total in the White House, and a lot of that is tied to his fucking giant crypto scam. Did you guys talk about the fucking crypto scam that this president ran on his own fucking supporters as you guys rode him on a daily basis? No, you didn't. You didn't do that. And so forgive me for, being a little angry, but I'm fucking angry. I'm angry about this. That now it's like, oh, okay, so everything that Alex Jones was warning about in the 1990s and 2000s is coming to fruition. And it's like, yeah, and now he's on the wrong side of it. And also, he was warned this past election cycle, this bad stuff is going to happen. And they all just shoved their head in the sand, right? They all just shoved their head in the sand. We're talking about a guy who sued a pollster because he didn't like a poll. He sued them. You know what any other normal person would do in a scenario like that? Oh, that poll looks a little off. What do you guys want for lunch? You want a sandwich? Let's get a sandwich. That's what a normal person would do. What does Trump do? Sue him. Sue him. Trump sued CBS for how they edited a Kamala interview. Meanwhile, Fox News was editing up Trump interviews where Trump was saying, I'm not sure I would release would I release the Epstein files? Sure, I'd release it. But maybe that one not so much because there's a lot of phony stuff in that world and you don't want to get innocent people caught up in that. They edited that for Trump to just say, yeah, I'd release it, and then they moved on. Totally changing the nature of the answer, making him look better. Did Kamala sue Fox News over that and say this is misleading and this is election interference? She didn't. But Trump sued 60 Minutes for editing a Kamala Harris interview. This is what we're talking about. This guy that you guys all pretended pro-free speech and anti-deep state. Now this motherfucker, he just bombed Iran illegally. He just bombed fucking Somalia. He just bombed Yemen. He just signed something saying we could do war in Mexico to go after the cartels, even though the Mexican government says you better not fucking bomb in our country. Trump wants to do it. Trump just sent 3 warships and 4,000 Marines to Venezuela on the brink of war with fucking Venezuela. But no, you guys didn't want to talk about that. Don't want to talk about that. It was all, the wokies are the problem. It's like, fucking fuck, god damn it. And just said, here's the thing. And I listened to this whole, because I was curious. I was like, let me see. Let's see if Tim finally gets it. Let me listen to the whole thing. So I listened to the whole podcast, right? And I was like, okay, let's see. I was giving him an opportunity. Will you say, after this part, do you go into, and you know what? I was wrong for having J.D. Vance on the podcast and taking it easy on him. And Donald Trump is the problem. The Republicans are the problem. They're the ones doing these wars. They're the ones opening up these fucking concentration camps. They're the ones sending masked ICE Gestapo thugs to round up innocent people and put them behind bars with no due process. They're the ones who are destroying the economy. Does he go into a long thing about how, hey, we were wrong and also the Republicans are the problem? No, he doesn't. He doesn't. It's always like say it without saying it. Right? Say it without really going the whole way and telling the truth. But that's where we are. And that's what, I'd expect no different at this late date. None of these people will just hold the L. Funny enough, the one who's done the most to try to rehab themselves is actually Andrew Schultz. And even he couldn't be totally direct and say, yeah, I fucked up and I was duped. He doesn't say that. He refuses to say that. In fact, he got smug about it and he didn't say that. But what he did do is he started inviting on a bunch of liberals. All right, okay, I'll bring you on. Now we'll all shit on Trump together. But so he wouldn't say the I'm sorry part and I fucked up part, but he did go, all right, let's hear from some liberals now. Not leftists, which is a whole nother thing, right? Because then you want to get to the people who are really correct. You go the leftists. Liberals are almost there, but not fully there. He's the closest, but Rogan still sucks and Dillon is doing this middle ground type shit. But yeah, Yeah, all those horrible things that we warned you would happen, it turns out they're happening. And it turns out all of these guys' optimism about, oh, he's an outsider, he's a populist, he's going to take on the deep state. He's got... Wrong. In every way, shape, and form. This guy is destroying the country, and he doesn't give a fuck about anything except himself, which is why he can kick 17 million people off their health care the same week he announces, we're going to build a $200 million ballroom that's 90,000 square feet at the White House. This is who we're dealing with. So all of his harshest critics were the most correct all along, and I want to hear you fucking people say it. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.